Yo, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be coming in with a quick little video where I just talk about how to tune your 808s properly inside of FL Studio. This is just one of those little things that every producer needs to be doing, and once you start doing this, it's going to take your beats to the next level immediately. So you can see we got a pattern loaded up. If I just click on that and go into here, we got this little chord progression laid out, right? It's nothing too crazy, just a simple little progression written in E minor. Although it's not like an actual E minor, because I threw in this little major 7th chord. It's a diminished chord on the major 7th. But I don't know, that's just me geeking over the theory. I know most of you don't give a shit. You're just here to learn how to tune your 808s. So if we take a look at this drum pattern, you can see, once again, super simple, just like the chord progression. I literally just threw it together in like 10 minutes or whatever. And it's just a nice little drill beat, you know, nothing too crazy. Obviously, drill isn't my main genre of music that I like to work on, but it was just something really easy that I could put together quickly to demonstrate how to tune 808s, you know? So you can see we got this 808 loaded up right here. Pretty beefy sounding 808 if I do say so myself. So now let's say I just decide, fuck it, I'm just gonna start clicking in notes. I go over here and I go to the 808. As you probably know, when you're making a bass line, generally you want it to follow the bottom note of your chord progression. And if you don't know that, well, you just learned something new. When you're making bass lines, usually you want it to be following the root note of your chord progressions, right? So let's say I take a look at the kick pattern, I see where the kicks are placed, and I decide to put my 808s in those same spots following the chord progression. So you can hear right off the bat, it's a little bit iffy. There's something wrong with it. And right away, if you're new to making beats, you might not be able to identify exactly what the issue is. And you might be pretty annoyed. You're like, well, yo, why is my 808 not sounding good? I have it on the right notes. Well, the two issues right now are that, one, the 808 isn't cutting itself, and two, the 808 isn't in key. And now that second one may be confusing because you're like, well, I have it in the right notes. You can see it's within the scale, so why is it not in key? Well, that's just because of the note that the 808 itself is actually tuned to. Unless you're making your own 808s inside of a plugin such as Serum, the 808 sample that you're using is already going to be tuned to a note. And the reason that is because the person that made the drum kit, who made that sound, when they recorded the sound, they had it playing that specific note. So the next question obviously would be, how do you find out what note your 808 is tuned to? Well, when you're looking at the sample in this little screen right here, you want to go to the sample and you want to right click it. When you right click it, this menu will pop up and you want to go down to Edit in Audio Editor. And then once you click that, you'll see the 808 gets loaded in a plugin called Edison. This is just a plugin native to FL Studio that allows you to edit and modify different samples. So now that it's loaded up inside of Edison, you want to go over here to the little flag icon right here where my cursor is. Click on that and head down to Detect Pitch Regions. Once you click that, you'll see that the note that the 808 is tuned to will pop up right here in the corner. And sometimes if the 808 has a really big waveform, you might have to go over here to the zoom bar and just zoom in like this to see what note it is, because the waveform might be kind of covering up the letters when it's all the way zoomed out like this. But in this specific situation, we can clearly see that the 808 is tuned to a B1. So now that we have that piece of information and we know what note the 808 is tuned to, if we head back over here to this window and we go over to this little like crescent wrench icon, you'll see a whole new screen pops up. And essentially down here in this piano, you want to right click on the note that the 808 is tuned to. And it's very important that you do not left click on this piano. If you do left click on it, I honestly don't even really know what it does because it's so useless that I've never used it. Anytime I've left clicked on this piano roll area, it just causes problems. So I just don't fucking do it. I just only right click on this thing. Now me, I happen to know the keys on a piano, so I know that this one right here is a B, the one right next to middle C. So once I right click on that, now the 808 has been moved from being set to C, set down to its natural note, which is B. And now, one thing you can do if you don't know the notes on a piano yet is you could go over here to the actual piano roll and you can use this as a guide. So you could see, say I put a note down right here, you can see that that is a C. So from there you can kind of work out, all right, well if this is a C, that one must be a B. So B is right next to these 3 black keys. So then when you're looking at this, you see the 3 black keys and then you know, okay, that one's the B. So now that we actually set the 808 to be playing at its proper home note, which is B in this case, but as I said at the start, it depends on your sample. Some samples might be tuned to G, they might be tuned to D sharp, you never know. So whatever the sample's original note is, that's the one you want to right click on this piano roll. And then once you do that, now it'll actually sound in key. So let's take a listen to this. So there, now the 808 is actually playing the correct note, which is what we want. However, there still is an issue. You can hear that the 808s are kind of overlapping with one another. When one 808 plays and then the next one plays right after it, they sound muddy, like they're mashing together, and it sounds really bad. So what you would do to fix that is you go back here into this little view, and once again, you don't want to be over here on the waveform icon. You want to go over to this little crescent wrench. And then all you got to do is go down here and hit this button. It just says cut self. And this is basically going to make it so once a new 808 note is being played, the last one stops being played. So I'm just going to click that and then demonstrate what it sounds like. Just like that. That cleaned up the 808 pattern so much. Just those two simple tricks, tuning the 808 and cutting the 808. That's all you need to do, and now your 808s are sounding 10 times better and way more professional. Finally, a last little bonus tip I'm gonna throw in here is how to actually adjust your 808 so it plays to whatever length of a note that you want. What you want to do is you want to go over to this little icon. It's not the crescent wrench and it's not the waveform. It's the one in between. Kind of looks like a string mountain or something, but really what this is representing is the envelope. And this is basically just going to control how the 808 is being played. And that's kind of a hard concept to explain with words. You just kind of have to hear it to understand how it works. So I'm just going to click right here to turn this on. And what you want to do is you want to turn the attack all the way down. You want to turn the hold all the way up. And then the decay, sustain, and release, you want to turn all the way down. So now once you do that, the 808 is only going to be playing for as long as the note is inside of the piano roll. So before, the note would hit, and even though the note ended, the 808 would keep ringing out all the way until the next note when it would get cut off because I clicked the cut itself button. However, now, instead of the 808 continuing to ring out, the 808 is going to stop as soon as the note stops. And this just allows you to get a little bit more creative because now you don't have to always have the 808 ringing out. Say you want the 808 to hit when the kick hits, but then you want it to cut off abruptly once the snare hits. Once you have the envelope adjusted like this, it's very easy to do. So now you can see I went in and I just kind of lengthened a few of these notes so that way it always aligns to be cut off when the snare hits. And that's just a little extra trick if you want to have some more control over your 808s. Another cool little trick with the envelope that I've found out about through my years of producing is turning up the attack a little bit just so that way the 808 is sidechained to the kick. And sidechaining, it's a whole different topic. I'd have to make a whole nother video on how to properly sidechain it, and it's something that I still really don't know how to do that well yet. However, if your 808 is only going to be playing whenever the kick is hitting, this is an easy way to sidechain the kick to the 808. And what sidechaining is, if you don't know, it basically means the 808 is going to go down in volume when the kick hits, and then once the kick is done, it's going to go back up. The difference between a sidechained 808 and a non-sidechained 808 is really subtle, to be honest, unless you're sidechaining super heavy in something like pop music or EDM. But it is just like a nice, neat little trick to make the kick hit harder and to make it stand out more. However, as a result of that, the initial hit of the 808 is going to be weaker. So it's kind of up to you whether you want to sidechain or not, depending on the feel of the beat and what kind of music you're making. But yeah, so overall, that wraps up the video. That's how you tune your 808s, and that's how you cut them, and that's how you mess with the envelope. We got a whole 3-in-1 deal up in this bitch. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this tip will make your beats better, because anytime I listen to a beat and it has out-of-tune 808s, I'm just like, they don't know how to tune their 808s. Come on. So yeah, super useful pieces of knowledge. They're very simple, but they're extremely helpful. Leave a like if you'd like, and I will catch you next time.